Good day, class.
Good day, sir.
How are you?
We're fine, sir.
That's good to know that you're fine. Alright, so let's assume that we already have performed a prayer in respect with our Almighty God. And now let's check your attendance. Who's absent today?
None, sir.
Very good. Give yourselves 5 claps. Alright, so let's assume that we already discussed the classroom standards that we need to observe in our all throughout our discussion, and also let's assume that we already had a quick review from our previous classes. And at this point, we are going to have a mini activity for you to be guided, or for you to have some clues on what will be our topic this afternoon. So this activity is called Guess the Gibberish. So, this is a word game where you students need to guess a word. So these are sets of gibberish terms or gibberish words that make no sense at all, and you should need to read it constantly to guess the right word before 10-second timer goes off. So, are you ready, guys?
Yes, sir.
So, let's proceed with first word. So, I want you to guess this word. Anyone would like to guess this? And yes, Axel. Can you read the definition first?
In grammar, it is form of a verb indicating the relation between the participants in a narrated event, subject, object, and the event itself.
So,
Voice, sir.
very good. Let's find out. Ooh, she got the correct answer. So, it refers to, in grammar, it is a form of a verb indicating the relationship between the participants in a narrated event and the event itself. So, it is called voice. For the next gibberish, who would like to guess?
Me, sir.
Yes? Apple?
It is a form of a verb that allows you to express time. The word, sir, is tenses.
Ooh, very good. It's tenses. Let's find out. Yes, you got it right. Tenses is defined as a form of a verb that allows you to express time. For the next gibberish, you should read it constantly until you guess the right word, the right term. Yes, good.
It establishes the theoretical meaning of ether. Conceptual.
Ooh, conceptual. Very good. Let's find out. Ooh, he got it right. So conceptual means it establishes the theoretical meanings of key terms. And for the last, for our fourth term, who would like to guess? Yes, Apple?
It specifies how those terms will be measured or observed in a study. It is operational.
Very good.
Operational.
Very good. So, yes, you got it right. It is operational. So it is defined as something that specifies how those terms will be measured or observed in the study. And for the last gibberish, who would like to guess? You have to read it. Read it until you guess it.
It is a systematic investigation into and study of materials and sources in order to establish facts and reach new conclusions.
What do you think is the word?
Research.
Let's find out. Ooh, you got it right. It's research, and it is the systematic investigation into the study of materials and sources in order to establish facts and reach new conclusions. So, with all the words or gibberish terms that you have guessed, what do you think will be our discussion? What do you think will be our topic this morning? what will be our topic this afternoon? Any guess? With the terms like such as the tenses, voice, conceptual, operational, research, yes?
I think sir, our topic for today is all about rules in research.
Okay. Let's find out. Yes, that's actually a good observation because our topic this morning is all about grammar and technical rules in research. This will serve as your early training for your baby thesis in your final quarter. So it's very important for you to know the specific rules and grammar, especially in constructing informational text that you will be incorporating in your research study. So but before we delve into our the rules of grammar and technical research, let's first know what are the learning objectives. Kindly read.
At the end of the lesson, students should be able to analyze the use of discipline-specific words, expenses, technical terms in research, and conceptual, operational, and expanded definition of words. Search for terms in research articles, textbooks, or online resources, and manifest the importance of considering grammar rules in constructing informational text in research.
Very good. Thank you for reading. And these are the objectives that you need to attain at the end of our discussion this afternoon. So can you are you ready to do these activities?
Yes, sir.
Very good. Thank you. So in academic research, effective communication is paramount, right? So it does not only ensure clarity, but also it establishes credibility and facilitates understanding among learners. So one key aspect of communication in research is the use of, first, discipline-specific words. Kindly read. Discipline-specific words. So any guess with discipline-specific words? What are your thoughts about this? With how you observe its title or the topic itself, discipline-specific words. What do you think is this all about? Any guess? No, there's no right or wrong answers here.
Loser.
Feel free to express your thoughts. Yes?
I think, sir, discipline-specific words talks about choosing terms that are specific.
Very good.
Yes, sir.
Yes, actually, the discipline here is not the discipline that you have, right? But it is about the discipline. It refers to the respective subjects that you have in this school year. So each academic discipline has its own lexicon of specialized terminology that serves as shorthand or complex concepts. Using discipline-specific words ensures precision and clarity within a particular field of study. So, for example, in biology, subject biology, when you were entering college, so terms like DNA replication or photosynthesis have specific meanings that may differ from other colloquial usage. So it's very important for you to be mindful of the terms that you will be using in your research because these are restricted words that are only for respective disciplines. So you really have to specify it depending on the discipline that you have, that you may choose in informational text that you will be incorporating in your research study. So, is everything clear?
Yes, sir.
Did you understand it?
Yes.
Alright, so to better understand it, here are some other examples for biology. Can you read?
Gene expression, mitosis, phylogenetic, ecosystem dynamics, psychology, cognitive development, operant genes, imagery, personality traits, example,
Alright, thank you. So as you can observe, these are familiar words for us, di ba? So these words are restricted in its respective disciplines such as biology and psychology. So it's very important for you as a researcher that you be, when there will be a time when you are constructing your own research study, you have to consider these terms. You really have to consider these rules, the discipline-specific terms. So next is voice and tenses. Any thoughts about this? Voice and tenses? Anyone who would like to try? Yes? Sure. Do you have any thoughts? I'll give you points. I'll give you rewards after our discussion for your participation and cooperation with our discussion. Okay, yes, Axel.
I think, sir, voice was all about active and passive voice, whereas tenses talk about past, present, and future tenses.
Very good. So you already discussed this when you were in grade 9, diba? When you were in your early year levels in high school. So it's very important for you to know these and their rules because you will be encountering or you will be using these terms or considering the rules of these in your research, such as the voice and the tenses. So first, let's talk about voice. Kindly read.
Voice refers to the form of a verb that indicates when the grammatical subject performs the action or is the receiver of the action.
Very good. So, can someone give me an active voice sentence? Huwag na lang. Very good. Alright, so when a sentence is written in active voice, the subject performs the action. The passive voice, the subject receives the action. Understood?
Yes, sir.
Alright, so on the other hand, tenses are verb forms that indicate the time of an action or state. It helps us express when something occurred, is occurring, or will occur. So these are the main tenses: the past tense, present tense, and future tense. For the past tense, it is used to describe events or states that have already happened. Can you read the example for past tense, everyone?
I went to the park yesterday.
What do you think is the verb there in that sentence? Yes?
What?
And it is in a
Past tense.
past tense form. So that is the example of past tense. So you will be encountering this in your research. Also in present tense, it is used to describe events or states that are happening now or are generally true. So are they read?
I live in Tabacan.
I live in Tabacan. So what do you think is the verb there?
Live, sir.
Live. So it is in a present tense form. Alright, so in the future tense, it is used to describe events or states that will happen in the future. So can you read the example?
I will go to the party tomorrow.
Where is the verbal there? Verbal.
Will.
Yes. No. It's a modal. Sorry. Wait lang. Where do you think is the modal there?
The modal answer is the word will.
Will, yes, very good. So, with the use of modal will, it indicates that the sentence will happen in the future. So, the speaker uses what form? Future tense form. Very good. So it seems like you really know how to differentiate the past tense, present tense, and future tense. So, for us to better understand the rules of tense, so tense choice depends on the context. For instance, past tense is typically used to describe research methods and findings, while present tense may be used for general truths or ongoing research. So, as I said earlier, that you will be encountering these in your research: the use of will, the use of the use of past tense and the use of present tense. So for example, past tense conducted, present tense conduct, future tense will conduct. You are going to conduct a study. Here, it's your turn to determine which sentence is past tense, present tense, and future tense. First is, can you read?
The researcher studied his or her data.
Anyone would like to try? Yes?
The sentence here is in the past form or the past tense form.
Very good. But let's figure it out later on. So, the next sentence is, can you read?
The researcher studies his or her data.
What do you think is the tense there? Yes?
Sir, I think in the second sentence, I think is present tense.
Let's find it out later on. So, next, the last sentence, can you read?
The researcher will study his or her data later.
Yes? Any guess?
The sentence here is future tense against the word original will.
Okay, let's find it out. So, now I'm going to reveal the answers. Alright, so give yourself standing up. You got all the answers. Tense, present tense, and future tense. Go! Very good. So now let's proceed with the next topic. It's about the conceptual and operational definitions. So any guess about this topic, definitions? You guessed it in the gibberish a while ago. So what do you think does these definitions, I do these definitions all about? The conceptual, operational, any guess? Yes?
So based on our activity before we started our lesson, conceptual definition and establishes the theoretical meanings of key terms, while operational definitions specify how terms will be measured or observed in a study.
Okay, very good. That's a very good observation from you, Kurt. So, conceptual and operational definitions, clarifying these definitions is essential for ensuring consistency and replicability in research. So, a conceptual definition tells you what concept means, and while operational definition only tells you how to measure it. So, it tells what your constructions are explaining and how you do the conceptual is about what the concept, and operational definition is all about how you measure it. So that's the difference between the two. For example, in psychology, the conceptual definition of intelligence may refer to cognitive abilities, diba? We all have different intelligences.
Yes.
And while the operational definition might involve standardized IQ tests to determine how intelligent you are as a student. So that's how the operational and conceptual definitions work in research. You have to define it, how it works, and what are its own definition, the specific definitions of those terms that you will be using. Alright, next is expanded definitions of words. What do you think this topic will be all about? What do you think is this all about? What do you think this is all about? Next is expanded definitions of words. So, any thoughts about this topic? Anyone would like to try?
Me, sir?
Yes?
For me, sir, I think expanded definitions of words I think that expanded definitions of words will help us to disambiguate terms and to prevent misinterpretations.
Very good. So, Okay, that's a good point from you, Apple. So indeed that in research, words often carry nuanced meanings that extend beyond their everyday usage. So an expanded definition, can you read?
Expanded definition, also called an extended definition, is a paragraph or composition explaining a complex and abstract term.
So expanded definitions are frequently used to explain new technology or economic, medical, and legal social terms that you'll be incorporating, especially in your the informational texts in your research study. So it's very important to expand the definition of the terms that you will be using. So for example, in sociology, the term inequality may encompass economic disparities, social hierarchies, and access to resources. So each requiring clarification within the research context. So it's very important to expand each term in order for you to have a more informative research statement. Alright. Next, for our, I think this is the last. Alright, so for our last discussion, who would like to guess what this is all about? Yes. Okay.
Technical terms, sir, refer to words or phrases that people use in a specific career field. These terms can be any word, phrase, or acronym that has a specialized meaning within a particular field or expertise, such as words for equipment, personnel, software, or project.
Very good. So let's find out what does this topic or this specific topic all about. So it is the technical terms are the jargon or acronyms that are common in specialized fields and serve as a special communication tools among experts. So you will be encountering these terms, and you need to. The researchers must strike a balance between using technical terms for precision and accessibility. When introducing technical terms, providing explanations or contextual clues can aid comprehension. So, these are the examples of. Give me an example. Pwede ko na lang. So researchers must strike a balance between using technical terms for precision and accessibility. When introducing like one of legal, researchers must strike a balance between using technical terms for precision and accessibility. When introducing technical terms, providing explanations or contextual clues can aid comprehension. In order for it to be more clear, to ensure clarity, you have to provide explanations and contextual clues. So, alright, so are you all ready for our activity?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so any questions with our discussion earlier?
None, sir.
Is everything clear?
Yes, sir.
Alright, crystal clear. So for our activity, I want you to search for terms. It's like something like that, and then this activity is called research terms. Alright. So instructions. Can you read?
In this particular activity, you are given a list of discipline-specific terms, technical terms, and expanded word meanings related to a specific research topic or field. You must search for examples of these terms in research articles, textbooks, or online resources, and provide explanations of their meanings and context.
Alright. So the other directions. Can you read?
In this activity, the class is divided into 4 groups depending on the color of paper attached under their answer.
Yes.
Each group should collaborate in finishing the activity within 15 minutes. So you are given 15 minutes to finish this task, and these are the resources or like the articles, journals that you are going to research for term. So, yes? Are you all ready?
Yes,
Okay, so for you to be guided to what would be, how would you perform that activity, this will be the rubrics, and these are the criteria, and the year, and alright. Okay, 15 minutes is done. Okay, time's up. Kindly pass your... Okay, time's up. Okay, how's the activity?
Good, sir. It's fun, sir.
Alright. So are you ready to for more activities later on?
Yes, sir.
It seems like you're tired.
We're not, sir.
Alright, so how are you now? Did you enjoy your activity?
Yes, sir.
Hmm. Axel did not respond.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Alright, so now to test your understanding with our discussion, the lessons that we have discussed, it's your turn to share your thoughts, ideas, and insights about our topic. So by simply answering this question, everyone, can you read?
As a learner, what is the importance of understanding the different key features and elements that must be considered in constructing informational text in research? Sir,
Yes.
In my opinion, sir, I think understanding and strategically deploying the different key features and elements of research are essential for fostering effective communication, ensuring rigor and credibility, and advancing knowledge within the academic community.
Wow, that's very informative. Yes, it's true that it's very helpful for you as students, as grade 10 students, especially that you will be having your big thesis in your final term. So this will serve as your guide, what are the things or the technical terms and rules, grammar rules that you need to consider, especially in constructing informational text that you will be incorporating in your chosen research study. So good luck to that, okay? Alright, so at this point, let's have a quiz. So get 1/2 sheet of paper and answer these quiz. Our quiz is our quiz. Alright. Okay, at this point we are at this point we will have we will have a short quiz. Short quiz ba? Tama. Hindi, long quiz na agad. At this point we will have a long quiz, and this quiz consists of 3 parts. So kindly get your 1/2 sheet of paper and answer this statement here. Yes. Part 1, the part 2, and part 3. This is a total of 20 points. Alright. Okay, pass your paper forward. 1, 2, 3, 2, 3. Very good. So now let's proceed with your assignment. Kindly read.
search for an existing research study, then collect incorrectly used terms, tenses, and voices found in your chosen research study. On a one-sheet of paper, list down the terms that you collected. Submit it next meeting.
Understood?
Yes, sir.
Alright, so goodbye class.
Goodbye, sir. Thank you for teaching us today.
Thank you.